In this video, I'm going to give you an in-depth look at MixerOS Dashboard. I believe this is the ultimate system for mixing engineers to manage your multiple projects, deadlines, and client requests without letting anything slip. As a mixing engineer, you're dealing with way more than just mixing. You need to make sure you remember who's waiting on mix updates. You need to make sure files get delivered. And wait, did you remember to send that invoice? Yeah, here's the thing. When all of that is bouncing around in your head, it's not only taking up mental space, it's actually robbing you of valuable brain power to do great work. MixerOS Dashboard is designed to take away friction. It's simple, intuitive, but the real power is in the built-in Notion automations that quietly handles some of the organizational busy work, so you can focus more on mixing. People sell Notion templates like this for hundreds of dollars. I'm giving this template away completely free. No newsletter signups, no upsell, no giving me your credit card for a free trial. Just use the link in the description below, enter your email, and I send you the template. That's it. My name is Barry Rashawn. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna walk you through the 5 components of MixerOS Dashboard and why this approach will completely transform how you manage your mixing operation. Plus, towards the end, I have some Apple shortcuts that will supercharge this template, making it even more powerful and frictionless. The main component of the MixerOS Dashboard is the MixTable. This is the heart of your entire operation. The MixTable is how you're going to track the progress of every single song moving through your system. At a glance, it tells you exactly where each song stands, what needs to happen next, and when things are due. If you watched my last video, you have an idea of how this works. With the version in this template, I stripped it down to just the essential properties, covering only the important elements. Let's jump into the dashboard so I can give you a run through of the MixTable and the automations that makes everything run smoothly. The MixTable is the heart of MixerOS Dashboard. The main properties are the artist-song title. This is the main identifier letting you know exactly what you're working on. Mix status is a status property with the different mix stages, new files, ready to mix, mixed, and approved. File status is a multi-select property for tracking files created for that song, so FNL, to mark that the final passes have been printed, stems to indicate stems have been printed, and archive if a song gets canceled for any reason. Due date, letting you know when the mix needs to be delivered. Mix date, this is to track when the first mix pass was completed. Date in for tracking when you receive files for that song. Song URL for linking to assets for that song that you can send to clients. All the way to the left is delivered, a checkbox property to mark when you send assets to a client. There are a few hidden properties that I won't get into because they're really just there for automation purposes. Views. This is the active songs view. It is sorted by the mix status, then by the due date, so urgent projects can rise to the top. It filters out archive songs and songs checked as delivered, so you can cleanly view the active songs. This view is the complete opposite, only showing songs that have been marked as delivered or songs with file status archived. There's some really cool automation magic happening underneath the hood, but before I show you that, I want to show you the rest of the dashboard so you can get the full picture when I'm explaining those automations. Having an assistant or a team handle all the administrative work would definitely supercharge your focus. And most of us don't have that. But what if I could get you some of those same advantages? When I worked with Jaycen as his assistant, I noticed something fascinating. He had 2 jobs: mixing the record and handling some light client communications. That's it. His team took care of everything else. And because of that, He had this incredible mental capacity to just be creative and focus. His productivity was otherworldly. I've seen this guy mix as much as 5 songs in one day. He could do that because his brain was not cluttered. Now, that's exactly what the task inbox is designed to do. Help you declutter your brain. It will become your trusted place to capture all the indirect tasks related to your operation. One of the biggest takeaways I got from reading the book Getting Things Done by David Allen is that the more you can get things outside of your head and into a system you can trust, the more you can focus and have fun mixing great records. Let me jump over to Notion so I can walk you through the task inbox. This is at the top left of the MixerOS dashboard. This is where all your miscellaneous tasks land before they get scheduled or organized. Properties include Done, a checkbox to mark tasks as complete, Task, the task title itself, Quick Note for any additional context or details about that task, Tag, the tag property to categorize your tasks. Currently, there are 3 tags. Feel free to add more. Day of the week. This is used when you're ready to schedule a task to a specific day. Views. This view is specifically filtered only to show tasks that have not been marked as complete, don't have a day of the week assigned as yet, or tasks that aren't related to a specific mix stage. It's your catch-all inbox. This view is the same as the previous. It's just in a list format if you prefer that layout. This third view, this is to show archive tasks. So any task marked as complete will pop up here. Also, I wanted to point out that the date completed is automatically tracked when you check off tasks. So if I check this task off and I go back to the archive section, it should automatically pop up with the date completed. How do you organize the scattered thoughts and ideas that pop up around your operation randomly? That's exactly what the notes database is for. It's your central area for capturing clients' information, documenting your learnings, storing creative ideas, basically anything you need to reference around your mixing operation that isn't a task. The goal is not just to capture these thoughts, but organize them and turn them into knowledge and shareable documents for your future self and your team as you grow. Let me walk you through the notes database and some of my actual use cases. Notes. You can find the notes database to the right of the task inbox. The properties include name for titling your notes or documents, tag to categorize or group your notes, type, which consists of 2 options, notes for quick captures and resources for reference documents, URL link for linking to external sources, archive, a checkbox to hide notes you no longer need to be visible. You can also think of this as a kind of soft delete. This view filters out archive notes so you see only what's currently relevant to you. This view is the same, just in a list layout. This view is to show resource documents, so any notes that you formalized and organized with the intent to reference or share would be a resource type. The final view is the archive view. Any notes you checked off shows up here. So I want to show you one of my personal use case for the notes database. This document, Stems for Mixing, is what I would send to my clients when I'm working with them for the first time and they want to know how to send me stems. Below, I have the 2 types of ways to send me stems. If the stems are in Pro Tools sessions, then you can follow this instruction. If the stems are audio files, then you can follow this set of instructions. The cool thing about Notion is that they give you the option to share this page to a person if you want to invite them directly to the page using their email, or publish this page, which allows anyone with the link to have access, which is what I've done with this. So when I'm working with that client for the first time, I literally just send them this link and then they can reference this information to send me the files for mixing. That's one way in which you can use the notes database. This is where things get even more powerful. The weekly agenda and the task center gives you something most mixing engineers don't have: complete visibility. Being able to see all your tasks at once makes planning your week infinitely easier. What also makes this truly special is the dual view layout, allowing you to look at your work from two angles simultaneously: time-based and task-based. Why does that matter? Because it lets you batch similar tasks together. All your setups could be done on one day, and your prints could get grouped together. This prevents the silent killer of productivity called context switching. You know that feeling when you're in the zone, deep in a mix, and someone walks in and asks you a random question? That feeling of your flow being completely destroyed? That's context switching at its worst. It's not just interruptions though. Every time you jump between tasks, your brain has to completely disengage from the first task, clear up your working memory, and load up all the cognitive resources for the next task. That process isn't instant. It's mentally draining, and it also affects the quality of your decisions. Long and short, it's a creativity killer. But when you batch your work, you stay in one headspace and work way more effectively. I'm going to show you exactly how the weekly agenda and the task center layout works. Let's jump into Notion. The weekly agenda. The weekly agenda is below the MixTable. This is the same all task database as the task inbox, but in this case, it's set up as a Kanban board that is grouped by the day of the week, so you can drag tasks from to the day you want it scheduled. Properties on display in this view is the task title itself. Quick note for additional context: mix stage, so you can see the part of the process that the task is related to. Below that is the schedule date. The schedule date is automated. You just drag the task to the day you want it to go to, and it automatically updates to the appropriate date. Below that, you have the done checkbox, which allows you to mark the task as complete. And below that is the day of the week, so you can quickly schedule a task to a different day without having to manually drag it all the way over. And beneath that is the tag for tasks that are outside of the actual mixing process. The last property in this view that I want to mention is the upcoming due date. This only shows up to let you know when a song is 5 or less days away from the due date. It is color coded, so if it's 5 days or less, it turns yellow. And if I change this to be 3 days or less, it automatically turns to red. And that's it for the weekly agenda. Below the weekly agenda is the task center, which is the last part of the dashboard. And similar to the weekly agenda, the all tasks database is the core of the task center, but with a different view, similar Kanban style, but grouped by the mix stage. All the properties are the same. The title itself, the upcoming due date, quick note, and the due date. This due date is different. You don't see it in the weekly agenda, but it's pulled in from the MixTable. Below that is the done checkbox and the day of the week, so you can quickly schedule the task for the day you want to do it. The cool thing about this is you can either decide to drag the task to the day of the week, and once you drag that task to the day of the week, it should automatically populate the scheduled date. But say you want to quickly just choose the Sunday to do that Sunday, and then to edit this and do that Monday. You have that flexibility to just quickly, set your schedule how you want to do it. Let's undo all of those. The beautiful thing about this task center is that you never have to manually create any of these tasks. This is a great way to segue into the automations that are within this MixerOS dashboard. So let's go ahead and add a new song. Let's call it new test song dash song 1. Right. And I purposely leave the N off of the new, but I want to show you something. So automatically those tasks are going to get generated. So the first phase tasks, which are the setups, and the mix gets generated. But you see, we spelt this name incorrectly. If I wanted to fix that, normally I would have to update each task associated with this song individually. But as you can see, all I have to do is update the mix table and the automation takes care of the rest. Now, say you go ahead and you check this task off as completed, the setup, right? So from setup, it should go from new files to ready to mix. So see, now it's checked off as ready to mix, right? And if we check off the mix task, it should go from ready to mix to mixed. Now it's at mix stage. And after that stage, it should also populate the phase 2 tasks, which are the final passes print and the print stems task. And if you check off those, so check off 1, you should see the final passes tag show up here. Takes a second, but it pops up. Then let's go ahead and check off the print stems task. And then if you check off the print stems task, that should also pop up. So throughout this entire process now, you have a fully automated system that you don't have to manually upkeep with all the minor tasks, like the busy tasks, I would call them. You can just simply focus in on mixing and scheduling your tasks, and everything else should update and take care of itself. These are the automations embedded in the system. Feel free to go ahead and check them out. If you have any questions about them, leave them in the comments below. Also, if you are on the free version of Notion, you won't be able to edit these automations, but they'll definitely work as intended. Along with the MixerOS Dashboard Notion template, I want to give you 3 Apple shortcuts that are going to really make this entire ecosystem frictionless. These shortcuts include 1 to enter files, 1 to enter notes into the system, and the third is to approve mixes so you know what stems and what files need to get printed. Let me go ahead and show you how easy these 3 shortcuts are to use and how much they're going to help your ability to just be on the go and enter information into the system, especially information that you normally tend to receive when you're away from your studio. So the first shortcut is the new file shortcut. When I go ahead and run that, the first thing it's going to do is ask you for a due date. In this case, we're just going to say yes for the example, and we're going to keep it at today's date. Then from there, it's going to ask you the name of the artist. Let's put this in all lowercase so you can see like how helpful this is. Random and DOM. We're going to click done. Then it's going to ask you for song titles. We're going to put test 1. And in the second row, we're going to put the second song because you can do multiple songs at a time. Then we're going to go ahead and hit done. And if we jump over to the mix table, you'll see where random test 1 is added. And even though we entered it with all lowercase letters, the artist's name is fully capsulated. And then if you scroll down, our automations got triggered for the first phase of the task, which is the random test 1 and random test 2, and then also the mix task for that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the notes shortcut. So if there are any notes that you copied, because most times clients are going to text you or email you these notes, you can simply copy them, and whatever is in your clipboard, it will show up with the first prompt to edit notes. I'm going to go ahead and say add notes 2, just as an example, so you can see what happens when the notes get submitted into the task center. I'm going to click done. So it's going to filter the mix table and give you a list of the songs that are currently still in the mix phase. So that means the final passes and the stems aren't printed, those are going to be the songs that are going to get filtered and returned to you. So you're going to select the one that the notes are for. Then after that, it asks you timeline. So this is like the day you want to do it. So if you want to do it 1, 2, 3 days from today, or you can do it today, or TBD puts it in the task center. But any of the other options, they will put it on your weekly agenda. So if I put it for TBD, it's going to show up in the task center. Boom. So once we open this, this is what I wanted to show you. Each new line within that set of notes that you edited will get a checkbox, so you can check those notes off as you go. And for the third and final shortcut, which is the mixed approve shortcut, it's pretty much going to show you all the songs that are in the approval process that, again, similar to the notes, that have not been, the final passes and the prints have not been done. And from there, it's going to ask you which songs are approved, and you're going to select the songs that's approved, and then it will mark it as approved. All right, so let's run this shortcut. Let's just select that one for now. Done. Okay. So when we go over to Notion, you'll see that that song got marked as approved, right? And then if you scroll up to the MixTable, it should also be marked as approved. What this does is when you get to the task center, you can easily see what songs are approved so you can schedule them to be printed. Because in the old version, what I've noticed with myself specifically is that I tend to not realize or not know what song has been approved. This wasn't a thing. And now in the new version, you can easily tell. So you can just drag that song up and schedule it for when you want it to get printed. Well, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Let me also know what you think about the template, and if you think there's any part of it that we can improve upon, just again, let me know in the comments. And if you're interested to see other cool automations that I am running for my mixing operation, go ahead and check this video out. Until next time.